धाम की, वृंदावन धाम परिक्रमा की, ब्रजमंडल परिक्रमा की
जय.
जय. Thank you. Let us start with prayers. Om Ajnanatimiraandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Iti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. I would like to welcome all of you on day 22 of the wonderful transcendental parikrama of Vraja Mandala in this Kartik Mass, very auspicious month, and all of you who are attending are no doubt very, very fortunate to be able to take part in this wonderful parikrama. So there are two things that we need in order to be able to undertake, even aspire to undertake a parikrama such as this, and to be actually able to undertake it is certainly a tall order. So it can be said that since Vraja Mandala, entire Vraja Mandala is under the control of Srimati Radharani, one cannot enter Vraja Mandala unless we have the blessings of Srimati Radharani. And for us to seek that blessing, one requires some amount of spiritual intelligence. There are several obstacles that come in our way. There are many commitments that we have got. And many of you who are here are attending this program on a daily basis without fail, which was the original sankalpa or a oath that we had taken, that we will take up this parikrama and we will not miss any of the days. So for all of you who are being able to do that, no doubt the spiritual strength for that comes from our spiritual master, and the strength originally comes from Sri Baladeva or Balarama through the disciplic succession coming from our spiritual master. So without the inspiration, without the encouragement and blessings of our spiritual master, Srila Prabhupada, who is channeling the spiritual strength from the original spiritual master, Nityananda Prabhu or Balarama, without that we would not even be having aspiration to undertake such a parikrama. So today's spot, today's dham that we are going to visit is Ramaghat. Shri Ramaghat ki jai. Ramaghat is situated on the northeastern part of Vraja Mandala. So yesterday we had taken darshan of Khelvan, and you can see there is very small font. Some of you may not be able to see, but Khelvan is very close to Ramaghat, and you just have to go in the direction of Yamuna. From Khelvan you'll reach Ramaghat. And so does anybody remember any one pastime from Khelvan? Khelvan was a place where Lord Krishna participated in several sporting activities with his cowherd boy friends. So online, is there anybody who remembers any?
Jumping like frog and eco.
Jumping like frog, only one per person. Other one, if you have heard what Mataji said, you can repeat, you'll still get points.
Yes, so Krishna was climbing on the top of the hill, and all the gopas are completing themselves that I will touch Krishna first.
I will touch Krishna first. Okay. Yeah. It was a scenic spot. You would go into a scenic spot, a vista point, and then others will come and race towards him and say that, yes, I will touch Krishna first. Somebody here in the audience would like to say something. Yes, Madhav? I'm sorry? Stealing the lunchbox. So as the children would gather, one of them would steal the lunchbox of another child, another cowherd boy. And then that lunchbox would be carried forward to the third boy and fourth boy and so on. As soon as that boy came to know that my lunchbox is stolen, immediately he'll try to retrieve it. And in this way, there would be a sporting activity with respect with the lunchbox. Anybody else? Chandraprabha Mataji actually said it, but she was only given points for one. The second one, if anyone heard, they can repeat.
They used to have the ecos, they used
Mataji,
to.
not you. You already said it, no? You're only allowed to say one. So okay, but here in the audience, somebody heard it actually. So that's right. Echo is one. I think your voice echoed here and it was heard. Sorry for that poor joke. So this Kelvan, wonderful pastimes of the Lord. And now we come forward to Ramaghat. Before we try to understand what exactly happened in Ramaghat, we need to understand a little bit, go in the past a little bit further and understand who Balarama is. Because Ramaghata here, Rama refers to Balarama. So who is this personality? Balarama, Baladeva. So let us just take a look at that. I would like to quote this verse from Srimad Bhagavatam, in the 10th canto, 2nd chapter, 8th verse, where there is a description of, the chapter is titled Prayers by the Demigods for Lord Krishna when he is in the womb. He summons Yogamaya to come to Vrindavan, beautiful land, Mathura, Vraja Mandala basically. He summons her to come to Vraja Mandala, and he gives her some instructions. And let us see what those instructions are. So this verse is Sheshakyam Dhama Mamakam Tat Sannikrishya Rohinya Udare Sanniveshaya Devakya Jathare Garbham. So Devakya, Mother Devaki, in her Jathare, in her womb, Jathara is womb, Jathare Garbham, that is embryo. There is an embryo in the womb of Mother Devaki. Krishna is saying this. Sheshakyam Dhama Mamakam. So this embryo is none other than Ananta Sesha, who is my partial plenary expansion. Dhama Mamakam, that is my partial plenary expansion. Tat Sannikrishya Rohinya Udare Sanniveshaya. So Sanniveshaya is do it with ease. And where it should be taken? In Rohini's womb. So please transfer the embryo in the womb of Devaki, Mother Devaki, and that embryo is none other than my own partial plenary expansion, Ananta Sesha. So Ananta Sesha has come there. Please take him and simply shift him into Mother Rohini's womb. This is the instruction being given. Within the womb of Devaki is my partial plenary expansion known as Sankarshana or Sesha. Without difficulty, transfer him into the womb of Rohini. So you can see here that Lord Balarama is none other than, and Krishna is himself declaring that Balarama is actually my own partial plenary expansion of Ananta Sesha. So Balarama and Lord Krishna are non-different. They are non-different. They are to be treated on the same platform. They are non-different. Completely transcendental. Now one could argue, one could ask, how is it that, and of course, after this instruction, what happens is that he tells Yogamaya that Sankarshana has already entered this womb of Mother Devaki, and he has made the arrangements for me to come there. So after you have, once you have moved Sankarshana from the womb of Devaki to the womb of Rohini, I will then enter the womb of Devaki. So he says this. So then one may question, how is it that Lord Balarama, who is completely transcendental, Satchidananda Vigraha, just like Lord Krishna, how is it that he can take birth in a womb which appears to be an ordinary material place, particularly in a place where there are six, what is referred to in Srimad Bhagavatam as the Shad Garbhasuras, 6 asuras who had already taken their birth in Mother Devaki's womb. How is it that Lord Balarama or Krishna can also take birth in the same place? How can he enter the womb? So there is a very interesting answer given to this. First of all, Prabhupada raises this question himself and he answers this also. And so this one we just saw that he's saying that my plenary expansion Ananta Sesha is within the womb of Devaki. On account of being forcibly attracted to the womb of Rohini, he will be known as Sankarshana and will be the source of all spiritual power or Bala, by which one can attain the highest bliss of life, which is called Ramana. Therefore, the plenary portion of Ananta will be known after his appearance either as Sankarshana or Balarama. So Sankarshana or Balarama is a source of all the spiritual power, all the spiritual strength that one requires to advance in Krishna consciousness. So it's a very important statement that Krishna himself is making about Lord Balarama. So this question about how Lord Krishna or Balarama can enter into a seemingly a material place like the womb where the Shad Garbhasuras have already taken the residence is explained by Srila Prabhupada by quoting these verses from Srimad Bhagavad Gita in chapter 9, text 4 and 5. Maya tatamidam sarvam jagat avyakta murthina matsthani sarva bhutani nacham teshu avasthitah nachatmasthani bhutani pashyame yogam aishwaram bhutan bhutabhrinna nacha bhutasto mamatma bhuta bhavanah. So here the Lord is describing his own transcendental nature and mystic opulence. If you recall this verse that we had covered in the Bhagavad Gita summary and also subsequently when we covered the entire 9th chapter in detail, this mystic opulence of the Lord is such that he is present in the material world and yet he is aloof from it. All of the matter, all material components that we see around us, everything originates from the Lord, everything rests in the Lord, and yet everything does not rest in the Lord. So this is the fundamental concept that Srila Prabhupada says can only be explained through the Achintya Bheda Abheda Tattva philosophy, which to truly understand this, one must be a surrendered devotee of the Lord. The Lord does not reveal this confidential knowledge about himself, the most confidential knowledge about himself to non-devotees. So as we are aspiring to be devotees, we can try to understand, at least accept this mystic opulence of the Lord, that just because he is present in the womb of Devaki, or just because Lord Balarama appears in the womb of Devaki and then gets transferred to the womb of Rohini, it does not mean that he requires a womb to appear in this world, because his entire world is emanating from him and yet he is aloof from it. He is completely transcendental. The yogis and the great transcendentalists, they meditate for thousands of years to simply get a glimpse of the transcendental effulgence, the Brahma Jyoti of the Lord. So where is the question of the Lord himself being material? So the translation of this verse is by me, in my unmanifested form, this entire universe is pervaded. All beings are in me, but I am not in them. And yet everything that is created does not rest in me. Behold my mystic opulence, although I am the maintainer of all the living entities, and although I am everywhere, myself is the very source of creation. Now with this background, let us try to understand what are the pastimes that happened at Ramaghat. Transcendental personality who is none other than the partial plenary portion, expansion of the Supreme Lord, or none other than Ananta Sesha, Lord Balarama, when Lord Krishna was in Dwarka, at one point Lord Balarama had an intense desire to meet the residents of Vraja Mandala. So he wanted to come to Vrindavan, he wanted to meet the Vrajavasis there, he wanted to meet Nanda Maharaj, Yashoda Maya, and all the Vrajavasis. So he travelled to Vrindavan, and he met with Nanda Maharaj and Yashoda Maya. As soon as the Nanda Maharaj and Yashoda Maya met him, they were completely overcome with ecstatic love for Lord Balaram. And they took him on his lap, and they bathed him in their tears out of pure love. Lord Balarama was an expert in consoling, in speaking sweet words to the devotees, pure devotees of the Lord, and he consoled them and spoke very sweet words to both Nanda Maharaj and Yashoda Maya, as well as to the residents of Vrindavan who were longing to see Krishna and Balaram, and they were suffering greatly in their separation. As after he met with all the residents of Vrindavan, the cowherds, men and women, the gopis who were there also wanted to speak with him. So after some time, they got an audience to speak with him in private, and then they inquired about the Lord. Does Krishna remember us? Does he have any memory of how we used to pluck the flowers from the forests of Vrindavan, and how we used to make the garland, and he used to take that garland and he used to wear them beautifully, and he used to become so beautiful upon wearing those garlands? Does he remember all of that? Or have the city women of Dwarka completely enchanted him and he no longer remembers us? And in the meanwhile, another gopi would say, well, how is it possible for the city women who are so smart to become fooled by Krishna? After all, he made a promise to us that he will stay with us, and he spent so much time with us, and he was so deeply engaged in interactions with us, and one day he suddenly disappeared. So can't the city women, who are much more intelligent and smarter and well-educated, sophisticated women of the city, they would surely see through this. They will not fall for Krishna. So I am sure Krishna is not able to fool them just as he fooled us. Then in the meanwhile, another gopi would say, oh, why not? After all, if Krishna just simply gives one smile, immediately everybody becomes mesmerized. There is no hope for the city women of Dwarka. They would have surely been caught in his web of love. So it is not possible for them to escape. And then immediately another gopi would say, oh, why are we wasting our time talking about Krishna? Look, he doesn't even care about us. He has left us like this to suffer. He does not even remember us, but we are not able to forget him even for an instant. But such Krishna, why we should waste our time remembering? And then immediately another gopi would say, oh, but how can we forget Krishna? We cannot forget him even if we try to. So like this, the gopis in their ecstatic love for Krishna would said many contradictory things, and they cried, and they were simply lost in ecstasy. And they were completely inconsolable. And Lord Balarama, in order to console the gopis, he spent 2 months in Vrindavan and enacted wonderful pastimes, including a rasa dance that he would enact every night in a specific place in Vrindavan, Vraja Mandala, that is now known as Ramaghat, very, very close to Ramaghat. And this place is quite far from the Vrindavan, the Rasasthali of Lord Krishna, as you saw in the map. It's quite far up north. And this is the place where Lord Balarama enacted many of his wonderful transcendental pastimes with the gopis in exchange of mellow, of the highest rasa of conjugal love. As he was doing that, one night, when he was doing that, Varunadeva sent his daughter Varuni in the form of a specific drink, a heavenly divine drink called Varuni, in the form of Varuni. And the drink flowed through the hollows of the trees in the area where he was performing those pastimes. And both all the gopis as well as Lord Balarama, they all enjoyed the Varuni drink. And it is described in Krishna book how the gopis spoke such sweet words in the ecstatic transcendental mellows of rasa dance, to Lord Balarama, glorifying him in many different ways, that Lord Balarama became himself ecstatic in love, and his eyes started rolling as if he was drunk, as if he was intoxicated with the intoxicating power of this Varuni drink, which is essentially a drink made of honey. So in this transcendental ecstasy of apparent intoxication, he wished to sport with the gopis in the waters of Yamuna. The waters of Yamuna were a bit further away, and he summoned upon Yamuna Devi to appear in that very spot so that he could enjoy the sporting pastimes of the gopis. At that time, Yamuna Devi considered, oh, this person appears to be drunk, intoxicated. It is ordinary liquor. Like that, she thought, because he was acting in that way, swaying like an elephant. It is described that he was swaying here and there like the elephant of Indra, Airavat. And he was appearing to be intoxicated. So Yamuna Devi misunderstood his state to be a material intoxication with liquor, and just simply ignored his command. But of course, Anantasesha, who is holding all the material creation, all the planetary systems on his hoods, who is completely transcendental, is never touched by material lower basal tendencies of intoxication or material lust. Immediately he became angry at Yamuna Devi and he wanted to chastise her. So he took one of his weapons. Can anybody here online tell me what weapons does Lord Balaram carry? Online.
Actually, Lord Balaram is known as the Haldhar. So the plowing instrument.
That is one. Is there any other instrument that he carries? Okay, here there is somebody in the audience.
I think Gada, Prabhuji.
Gada, yes. So one is the plow, which Jagannath Prabhu already said. And then the second is the Gada. So there are two weapons that Lord Balaram carries, and he summons upon these weapons depending upon the requirement. One must understand that all the ornaments, all the weapons that are used by Lord Krishna or Lord Balarama are also personalities. And they are conscious, cognizant, living being, just as a personality, non-different from Krishna. So Lord Balarama summoned his transcendental plow, and then he thundered at Yamuna Devi that if you do not come here immediately because of your impudence, I am going to split you into thousands of tributaries with my plow. And he started dragging Yamuna river and started creating so many streams with his plow that she got bifurcated into thousands of small streams. Seeing this, immediately Yamuna Devi was shocked, in fear, and she immediately came out and surrendered at his lotus feet and said, "Oh Lord, please forgive me. I did not, I was blindsided. Of course, I could not recognize your true form, your true power of how you're carrying all the universes on your hood." It is said that the way Anantasesha carries all the universes, the weight of all the universes on his hood, on each of his hood there is a universe, entire universe. And the weight of that universe is equal to mustard seed, is equal to one mustard seed. Is it a mustard seed on an ant? On the head of an ant? An ant can feel mustard seed can be quite heavy. A mustard seed in relation to what? Not elephant. It's a camel. So just as a camel will not feel the weight of a mustard seed, right? So a mustard seed is so small in comparison to the size and weight of a camel. So it does not feel any weight, doesn't even know it's there. It's like that. It does not even feel the weight. So like that is the position of Anantasesha. So Yamuna Devi said, "You are such a person, I completely forgot that for a moment. Please forgive me." And then Lord Balarama forgave him. And after that, all the gopis and Lord Balarama entered into the water. Of course, Yamuna Devi immediately appeared there after that. And then they all entered the waters of Yamuna Devi, and they had sporting pastimes, just like it is described, again, like a elephant sports with she elephants. In complete ecstasy, he was sporting around in the waters. So this is a wonderful pastimes that occurred in Ramaghat. Sri Ramaghat ki. There is a mention of Ramaghat in one Vaishnava song. Jaya Ramaghata Jaya Jaya Brinda Rohini Nandana Jaya Brinda Jaya Jaya Brindavana Basi Jata Jana. So this is a wonderful song that is there, that this also mentions Ramaghat along with many other places of Vrindavan. So, yes, Prabhu? Do you have anyone has any comments, questions? I would invite all of you to please stay online. We would now have the Damodar Arati and singing of Damodar Ashtakam.